Keke Palmer recently shared that she just decided to start living as a free spirit and explore her life more during an episode of the best podcast ever with Raven and Miranda. Keke Palmer has always been a free spirit to those of us who know her, but in this instance, she's making an explicit reference to her sexiness. In my life, there was a time when I questioned whether I could be myself. When you start overanalyzing everything, she remarked. That's not even me. Why am I thinking this through so much? I suppose there comes a time when I just want my life to be my own. At the age of 17, she accepted her sexual openness and began accepting herself more, according to the woman, now 29. She also claims that despite her parents' openness and acceptance, she chose not to live out certain experiences in relationships, such as being with women, because she didn't want her family to be aware of her desire to consider alternatives to a relationship with a guy. Sexuality and related topics. My parents never even gave it much thought or raised the subject, she said. And I'm confident that by the time they realized how free of a spirit I was and who I wanted to date, they didn't give a damn. Never did they have anything on their minds. I've previously written on the challenges of growing up in a black family and being a part of the 2S LGBTQ+ community. If you're black, gay, and a celebrity like Lil Nas X, it can sometimes mean pointing a big middle finger at the pervasive homophobia in some cultures. Other times, it might mean coming out sooner rather than later or without ever really saying the words, I'm gay. Keke is saying something different, though. She didn't maintain the heterosexual course because her family wouldn't have been against her seeming bi curiosity. Rather, she claimed that because she also liked males, she felt comfortable avoiding romantic interactions with women. I felt like that was just another extra thing that no one really needed to know about because I like guys too. I ultimately just feel like the acceptance of that part of myself, in general, was a part of my process of being able to have love in my life, she said, adding, I don't really have to live out. After a difficult few weeks following an event in which the child's father, Darius Jackson, publicly ridiculed her for a dress she wore to attend Usher perform at his Las Vegas residency, about which I wrote here, Keke has been embracing her own self. We all know that she has always had some connection to her authentic self, but this time is different. I believe that a few factors contributed to Keke's increased self-awareness this time, but mostly the tremendously significant and transformative crossroads at which she is currently situated in her life. Even while I don't want to give him any credit at all, I think the first factor in this transformation is the man she seemed to have forgotten about after the Twitter incident. Although there hasn't been any formal confirmation of their breakup, recent interviews and her social media posts give us every indication that she is no longer worried about him and is instead concentrating on herself and her baby. She has intensified her fashion choices since the incident, posting pictures of herself looking extremely stunning in attire that he surely wouldn't approve of. She has kept fearlessly stating the truth in numerous podcast appearances, been nominated for an Emmy, and was even the cover of the July Cut, which brings me to my next point. The possibility that she is going through a process known as matrescence is the second factor driving her to delve more deeply into her inner self. Matrescence is the change that occurs in a woman's life on a physical, hormonal, psychological, a child, both socially and spiritually. Matrescence is the exact opposite of the baby blues that many women experience during their fourth trimester or the severe postpartum depression that they frequently encounter. A little more like an epiphany is materescence. If you will, call it a renaissance. It's not something that gets discussed nearly enough in popular media, like with most discussions involving concepts that might empower women. However, TikTok content creators are undoubtedly discussing it. There are many people who produce matrescence-related videos, but I believe this one's expletive-filled one captures the essence of it best. The fact that it is very evident to anyone who can read between the lines is why I attribute Keke's success and her new age to her being in whatever space she is in with Darius and matrescence. She was a kid celebrity growing up, so she had many people to win over. She's always done a fantastic job of being true to herself, but the day Darius tried to humiliate her in front of the world left her at a crossroads. She had to choose between giving in to his suggestions and demands and adhering to a very antiquated, conventional view of what it is to be a mother or forging her own path and experiencing motherhood on her terms. She kept silent for a few hours as support poured in on the day the disaster occurred, and I believe that realizing that, for the most part, everyone was on her side gave her a sense of worth, empowerment, and encouragement. She already had a very strong sense of self, so the encouragement she received was like a nitro boost that catapulted her to where she is now. Only a few weeks later, she has nicknamed it the Big Boss era, and it is. She told The Cut, I've just gotten so much more powerful since delivering my daughter. I just feel really strengthened, strutting my stuff and having fun. Keke continued by stating that she was very self-conscious before becoming a mother, which she claims is typical for those who are in the spotlight. Being slim and fit was important to her because of how much attention is given to one's physical appearance while they are in the spotlight, she claimed. But that has changed when she had her kid. I tried to cooperate with my trainer. He just answered, well, we are never going to try to get your body back to how it was before a baby because you gave birth, she recalled. That is something to embrace, not something to hide. Leaning into this new body is what we'll do. That sums up all that is going on with me in this big boss era as I enter my 30s and have my son. As a young woman, I'm just continuing to stretch my wings. Matrescence sounds just like that. Realizing that while you will never again be who you once were, you may be so much better than that right now. Even if you might never look the same way again, embrace the you that lies ahead rather than lamenting your loss. There is a ton of cause for celebration and a ton of opportunity. I believe her transition into the big boss period has to do with another topic she brought up, turning 30. In different stages of our lives, we go through a coming-of-age process. And while some would legitimately argue that turning 30 isn't the significant birthday that people make it up to be, it's still a year of great change. We've seen this with celebrities like Emma Watson, who spoke a lot more in her 33rd birthday caption than she typically does. I don't sit in desire for couples to split up. However, I do rejoice when I witness a woman move out into the world with greater confidence after letting go of the man whose hand had been holding her back from being who she truly was. We witnessed this with Kristen Cavallari and Emily Ratajkowski. After each breakup I've experienced, I've witnessed this with myself as well as with Julia Fox. Keke is overflowing with knowledge, personality, talent, and love. And I have a hunch that she and her followers are in for a crazy journey over the coming few years. For the big boss, we should all be sitting down. Here is Keke delivering the opening pitch at the recent Cubs-White Sox game in Chicago.